And Erin is here now to tell us more about her report. Erin, you've seen several cold cases. What makes this one stand out?
Well, I brought you copies of that cut and paste letter.
Wow.
That's what's really different about this case. All right, so you have, there's contradictory evidence. You have this woman who seemingly has no enemies. She's well liked. She wasn't having an affair. And then she's brutally murdered, which doesn't make sense because the brutal murder usually is someone who hates someone. Then almost 3 months later, this cut and paste letter that is sent to a newspaper where somebody claims responsibility. And then what makes it even more interesting is when we took this letter to an FBI profiler, Mary Ellen O'Toole, she says that they're most likely written by a woman. Wow. So here you have all of this contradictory evidence in this case, a very violent crime that investigators thought was probably committed by a male, but you have a letter that's sent 2.5, 3 months later that could have been written by a woman. Wow. Does that mean two people? Now, initially, investigators thought this was the spurned lover writing,
right.
But as soon as I read it, I thought it was a woman. So is it trying to set investigators on another trail?
You know, when you look at a letter like this is extremely creepy, disturbing, and it looks like something out of a movie.
Silence of the Lambs.
Exactly.
Which is probably where this person got it.
Right.
I'm sure they were inspired by a movie. And, you know, you're seeing a copy, but those are all individually pasted letters. Think of the time it took for something like this. So I do think someone out there knows, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this. This is such a brazen, horrible crime that it should be solved.
But the FBI says most of the times these are written by women, right? That's fascinating.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
As you said, you're hoping for someone to come forward with some type of clue, but are there any other leads?
Well, there is. There was a man who was seen the afternoon before she was killed and on the afternoon she was killed. What's interesting is they have a sketch. It's a pretty good sketch. The neighbor, and there it is, the neighbor has had identified this man and helped do the sketch. He's never been identified with a name. 8 years afterwards, you would think, now I have to say he kind of looks like every man. He does, you know, glasses. But you think somebody would come forward and say, oh yeah, that looks like, and yes, he was in Lawrenceville, Georgia at that time.
Wow, unbelievable. This is a fascinating story. Erin Moriarty, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
You can see Erin's full report, Solve This Case, Who Killed Kay Wenal, tomorrow night on 48 Hours. It begins at 10, 9 Central, only on CBS.